To be honest, I would have died a long time ago if my tolerance wasn't so high. This was me 2 years ago, and this is me now. Now, it's obvious I made a lot of changes, but it's way deeper than that. 10 years ago, I was battling an opiate addiction that I've been struggling with since 2006. It took so much of my time and money, it's embarrassing. I tried to quit 5 times a year, every single year. And every time I tried and failed, I grew less and less confident. Eventually, I just thought it was impossible and I was just going to be a junkie my whole life. Then in 2014, I got busted for trafficking and the judge denied my bail. I'll never forget the feeling I had when that happened. Even though I was sick as fuck, it was a relief. My mind could finally stop racing and I could finally commit to getting off drugs. When I got out, I thought I was over it, so I went back to hustling. Everything was good for a while until one night I found my friend's dead body. After seeing that threw me back into a relapse, and I realized I gotta get out of this shit or I'm gonna end up just like him. To be honest, I would have died a long time ago if my tolerance wasn't so high. So now it was time to use all the shit I learned in treatment and stop trying to get clean with one foot in the game and one foot out. This was probably harder than quitting the drugs itself because I had to leave my whole identity behind. I felt like a 13-year-old boy at 30 years old. And at this point, I didn't even know who I was. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. But I made a choice and a commitment, and I was done. So I went to the temp service, got a horrible paying job, and did that for a few months until I was able to get a grant for truck driving school. Then I got my CDL. And this is the first time I actually grew so much confidence. I actually felt proud of myself. I actually did something I thought was impossible. And it's all because I never gave up. Before you know it, I was 300 pounds, hated the way I looked, felt like shit all the time, didn't have no energy to even play with the kids after a day of work. I was no longer proud. I was depressed. I knew I had to do better than this for me and my kids, so I decided to go to the gym. I got in there and I was back at it. I was going hard 3 days a week, after work when I could, on the weekends, for about a month. And then I would go back, do good for a couple weeks, maybe a couple months. This went on for a couple years. But one day, about 2 years ago, I just had enough. And it was time to commit. I had to prove it to myself and everybody else. They kept saying, that's what happens when you get old. You're too old. That's just the way life is now. Dad life, dad bod. Shut the fuck up. I'm gonna show them. So I remembered everything I learned about the mind and body through my drug treatment and applied it to fitness. I identified my food triggers, my feelings that was making me not work out. I broke down the barriers that was making me stay in bed. And most importantly, I scheduled my days so they could be sustainable. In order to change, you gotta take your emotions out of the equation. You gotta schedule what you know you need to do and stick to the schedule. Don't give yourself another option. You need to make a plan and fully commit. Because at the end of the day, you can say you're doing good, but your body's a representation of your mind, so everybody can tell. There's no shame in failing as long as you keep getting back up. That's the type of shit that makes us strong. I just want to let you know, it don't matter how long you've been struggling. I know what it's like to feel hopeless, and it's never